Hi everyone. So this week I am recording my tip of the week here from Luxembourg. So hopefully I am going to be able to get a high enough quality of the video over the internet to get you guys a video out there on Friday. Now the video that I want to do this week is on importing images. And in order to cover this concept, I'm going to go ahead and do it in Storyboard Pro first and then in Animate Pro. And the concept is the same whether you're using Storyboard Pro, Storyboard Pro 3D, Animate, Animate Pro, Harmony. In all cases, the concept is the same. So no matter which one I show it to you in, you'll be able to take that knowledge and use it in all of our software. So I'll just create a project here called blank. And by default, by the way, it selects your HDTV vertical. If you're working with if you're working with HDTV images, and you're going to be importing images in from outside, either whether those are images that you're scanning in from paper or images that you're creating in Photoshop. In both scenarios, when you're importing images in, you want to select the vertical option. It's very important to understand what the difference is between the vertical option and the horizontal option. So to show you this, I'll do the wrong one first. I'll start by doing HDTV without the vertical. And then when I show you the two, you'll understand what the difference is. So when I create my project here and I am just about ready to work, one of the things that I can do is I can go to View, Grid, and then I can show the grid. And this is just going to help me to be able to see what I'm doing when I am importing an image in, or whether I'm using a drawing tool. So I just turned on the grid and then I used the drawing tool on here. And what you can see is that by default, when you show the grid, we use a 12-field grid to define the drawing space for each drawing layer. And this 12-field grid, we use it for traditional purposes because we still have some studios out there that are going to take their storyboards or their animations and they're going to print them out on paper. And for those studios that are printing out on paper, there is no punched HDTV paper. It's all still 12-field or 16-field paper. So we use this 12-field paper by default just to continue working in the traditional space. But you'll notice if I mask the camera, you see that the camera is actually cutting off at a different spot than the grid here. And in this case, it's actually the camera itself is cutting off before the grid is, or the grid here is fit vertically with my camera. So to make this more evident, let me just go ahead and delete that little image that I had drawn in there. And I'll do instead, we'll import an image as a layer. And I'll take a test image that I have in here that is at HD resolution and just plop it in there. And you'll see now that when I import that image in, you see that my 12-field grid that's defined here by these boxes, my 12-field grid is fit horizontally with my camera view. And that means that, you know, it's actually taking this 12-field grid and it's using the east and west axis, or the X and Y axis, and it's fitting that axis of the grid with my camera. But if I turn off that grid here for a second, you'll see that my image that imports in too large. And that's because when it fits the image with the grid, it's fitting the image always with the top and bottom of your grid. That's always the way it's done. So in order for us to fit the image itself with the camera, what we need to do is we need to fit our drawing grid vertically with the camera. And that's where that vertical option comes from when you look at HDTV vertical. So if I go into my storyboard properties and I switch now over to HDTV vertical, I can click on OK there, and it asks me now, do I want to preserve the framing that I've already done? And I want to click on no, because the framing is not good. The framing that I've done makes my image too large for my camera view. So if I click on no, now what it does is, if I turn off that grid again, you see now it has reframed my camera so that the camera is fitting vertically with my drawing grid, and it's also fitting vertically with my imported image, because my imported image is always fit vertically with the drawing grid. So hopefully this clears up. I know it comes up now and again on the forums and for people that are working in studios of why is it that when we're working with HD images it imports them in at the wrong size. And you need to just make sure that when you're working in your project you're working with this HDTV vertical option.